Hey everyone, we are back and today we are starting a new chapter and this is the first section of that chapter. Chapter 7, Section 1, we are simplifying algebraic expressions. Let's just go over a little vocabulary here. It says terms. What those are in an expression are separated by a plus or minus sign. So if we have this right here, 7x plus 5 minus 3y plus 2x. Well, there are 4 terms in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And how do I know that? Because they're separated. Here's a plus sign, here's a minus sign, and here's a plus sign. Those signs are separating into 4 terms. So one term here, another term, another term. So we have 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. What we're going to be doing is simplifying this and condensing it and making it smaller by combining like terms. Now, what like terms, those can be grouped together because they have the same variable raised to the same exponent. Now, an exponent, what's that? Well, if you have something like this, it's a variable. Let's say z. This would be z raised to the 3rd power. So the 3, that's what the exponent is. Okay, so what it's saying is that you can combine things that have the same variable just by itself. So let's say we had something like z plus z. Well, they're both z's, so we can combine them. That would be, this is like an imaginary 1, this is imaginary 1. So 1z plus 1z equals 2z, okay? Or you can combine them if they have the same variable with the same exponent. So if we had something like z cubed plus 2z cubed, well, this is like an imaginary 1 there. So 1 plus 2 would equal 3z cubed. All right? Now, so you have to have the same variable with the same exponent. Now, you can't have, let's look at this example. So let's say we have a z, let's say 2z squared plus 3z cubed. Well, here, they have both the same, they both have a z, but this has a 2 in the exponent and this has a 3 in the exponent, so you cannot combine them. This is as simplified as it gets right here. Okay, so let's look back at this problem. So we have I'm looking for terms that are exactly the same. Okay, I see that this 7 has an x, so that's an x variable. This 2 has an x. Okay, so I can combine those 2 things. Also, I see that there's a y right there. Okay, so that's a little different. Okay, and then lastly, there's this 5 here, which is just a plain number. Now, this number has a particular name. Any number just by itself, what it is it's called a constant. Okay, I'm going to circle that. A number just by itself is called a constant. So constants such as 4 or a decimal like 0.75 and 11 are like terms because none of them have a variable. So numbers, they don't have a variable, so that means they're alike. So any number, you can combine it with any other number. Okay, so here what I have is I have I have 2 things that are green. Those are the x's. They both have a variable as an x, and it's the same exponent. So I can combine those. 7x plus 2x is 9x. Okay. And then what do I have? And it's a positive 9x, so that's why this is going to be positive. So that's my green right there. And then I had the 3y. Okay, and it's negative. So it's the 3y is negative here, so it's going to continue to be negative. It's a negative 3y. And there's no other y's there, so I can't combine that with anything. So it just stays negative 3y, and that's fine. And then I have my constant, the number 5. And it's positive, so I'm just going to write it, plus 5, right there. And there you go. So we have simplified this algebraic expression. Okay, we have condensed it. We were able to condense the x's, but there was nothing else to combine with the y or the constant, so we just write them again like that, and that's the answer to that. So we're going to look at a few other problems where we're going to be simplifying algebraic expressions. Remember, it's expressions. There's no equal sign, so this is an expression. Okay, and here we go. Let's look at them. Okay, what do we have? What do we have? All right. Example number 1. So combining like terms. Problem A. So what I see is I see 14, and it's nice they put these little different shapes. I like to use the colors, though. It helps me. So here's an A and here's an A. This is 14A. It's positive, and then there's a negative 5A. So since there's two A's, we're just going to combine them. And you don't really have to worry about the A. You just kind of, when they're the same variable, you just go 14 minus 5. What's 14 minus 5? And it is, what is it? It's 9. And then you just kind of put that A on the end. So it's kind of like if you have 14 apples and then 5 of the apples get taken away, how many apples? Well, then you'd have 9 apples. So that A is kind of just like the label a little bit. So there you go. There's your answer there. Let's look at this one. Okay, this one's a little bit more interesting. We have a y squared. Okay, so we have a 7y squared. So now we're looking for y squareds. Are there any other y squareds? I see that that's an 8. That's a constant. Oh, here's a y squared. Okay, so I'm going to make that blue. There's a negative 1, so that's another constant. And then there's just a regular y. And since it's not a y squared, it's not the same thing. They're totally different. So you can't combine those, okay? So let's go to the constants. What are the constants there? Well, there's an 8 that's a constant. And then there's a negative 1 that's a constant. Okay, so we have two constants. And then finally, we have the y. So now we're just going to combine them. Since we have 3 colors here, that means we're really going to have 3 terms when we're done with our simplifying. So 7y squared minus 3y squared is just kind of like 7 minus 3, which is 4. And then we tack on the y squared. Okay, let's do the other y. It's always nice to have the constants at it's kind of like you have them at the end. So you do all the variables, and then the last thing is the constant. So here, there's a regular y. It's just 1 y, but I'm just going to write it as y. And then 8 minus 1 is 7, and it's a positive 7. So there we go. And now it is time for our friend, the pause dragon, to come and swoop in. You guys need to work out this check it out example 1, and now it's time to pause. When you get done, start it back and see if you got it right. All right, see you in a little bit. Bye. All right, we are back. Let's go ahead and work this out. I see this is 4q minus q. Okay, we have a q here. We have another q here. That's awesome. We're just basically going to go, this q is like saying 1q. So basically it's 4 minus 1, which is 3q. Perfect. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So we have 5c plus 8 minus 4c minus 2 minus c. Holy cow, that's a lot of c's. Okay, let's start here. I'm going to get out my highlighter. So c is going to be green. Anytime I see a c, I'm making it green. So there's a c, there's an 8, that's a constant. We have a negative 4c, okay, that's green. It's a c. Then we have another constant. And then we have this other c. Perfect. Okay, we are going to combine those 3 terms and make it 1. Okay, let's do the constants. The constants are going to be blue. So there we have an 8 and a negative 2. All right, so let's combine these c's. 5c minus 4c. Well, 5 minus 4 is 1 minus another c, I think would just be 0. Well, that's nice. All the c's cancel out. So yeah, 5c minus 4c is just a positive c. Positive c minus c is just 0. Okay, well, they all cancel each other out. And then we go 8 minus 2. 8 minus 2 is 6. So for this one, that's it. That's the simplified. So look at that. How many terms did we start out with? We started off, remember, the term is separated by the plus and the minus signs. We start off with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms, and we ended up with 1, 6, which is a constant. Hey, awesome job. Okay, we will see you next time. Bye.